Studies have found that for every $1 of investment that we make in pre-flood work, like buyout programs or elevation programs, we get a $3 to $4 return on that investment. FEMA really does support this quite a bit. In fact, they have a rating system. It's called the Community Rating System. And what happens with the CRS program is that if locales put certain measures in place to do pre-flood work, the premiums for all the people that live in those places go down for their flood insurance by 5% each point they score. So they can really save up to 50% of their total flood insurance premiums. Now think about how much money that would save FEMA and save taxpayers if we could focus more on pre-flood work, getting cities ready, getting neighborhoods ready, getting individual households ready. Living in a flood-prone area is really dangerous. And I think that right now with the hurricane down in Houston and with a couple more that are brewing out in the Atlantic, it's a real good time to remind the public that, make sure if you're in the floodplain that you have flood insurance. Typically, if you have a mortgage, it's required to have flood insurance, but there are those people that live in the floodplains that have paid off their home. And you wouldn't want to lose all that equity. There are people that have flood insurance that is sponsored through the flood insurance program that FEMA runs, and some people don't. And the ones that don't really can get themselves into some trouble because they're in the floodplain and they don't have flood insurance. They may not get very much assistance afterwards. Well, the first thing to do is to either get on the internet or look up the phone number for the local planning department in your locale, because the local planning officials are going to have the best knowledge of that city, of that place, and they'll be able to direct you to other possible resources, whether that's getting in touch directly with FEMA at the state level or FEMA at the national level. All of those groups working together is what's going to knit kind of that safety net for people. But individuals at the end of the day have to participate in doing some of this work themselves. Knowing their risk is the first step. So I did a project for FEMA in states across the country, and again, we wanted to understand why people would say no to an offer like a buyout, or why would they say yes? And one of the main factors that created a yes or no answer was effective community outreach. If they felt that the flood official was someone who could be trusted, someone that worked perhaps with their neighborhood association or talked to a community group, they're much more likely to say yes to a mitigation offer, meaning to accept a buyout and or an elevation offer. So it's real important to build those relationships. My advice for any locale, any city that has frequent flooding is to have a campaign, an educational campaign that the local government would help run to get people mobilized to think about the issue, think about the likelihood that you might be flooded, and think about what you can do prior to that event in order to make sure that you and your family are safe. And I think we could put some gentle pressure on our Congress to pass legislation to do pre-flood work like buyouts or structural elevations of homes to keep people out of harm's way.